Thank you very much. And I think that the political figures and business leaders would like unemployed people to be quiet and just kind of stay in the background and go quietly into the night, but we're saying no. People are going to speak out. People are going to make change. I'd like to now introduce people who work, community leaders who work with unemployed. Oh, before I do this, I'd like to just ask here, are there other people who are unemployed or underemployed in this gathering? Would you like to just quickly say your name and how long you've been looking for work?
You have a voice.
Just only very, we have to make it very brief.
Yeah, Marcus Lee. I've been out of work since March of 2008.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Comments? Speak your voice.
Hello, my name is Jordan. I've been unemployed for a month and I'm having trouble finding work.
What kind of work?
I'm a painter with the local painters union.
All right.
My name's George. I've been out of work for 2 years now.
What kind of work are you looking for?
Anything.
Anybody else want to just say your name? Okay. Thank you very much. And now I'd like to introduce Father Bob Kruger, who was a short while ago pastor at St. Andrew Church and now is a community leader wearing many hats. Thank you.
All right, Father Bob.
My name is Robert Kruger, and I'm a retired Catholic priest, helping out at St. Francis of Assisi Catholic Church presently in Portland here. I'm a community co-chair of Portland Jobs with Justice, and I've been a faith leader in this community over many years while pastoring in 4 churches. I have experienced the trauma of several recessions. And the pain of the present recession we experience at the St. Francis Dining Hall, where our numbers have grown during these months. And in our small worship community, where several have lost jobs, and one is really desperate as he faces the end of his benefits. I think I speak with the broad faith community, especially Christians, Jews, and Muslims, whose prophets have always called for justice and equity in society and for solidarity with the poor and with unemployed workers. One prophet was Jesus, who understood that his mission was to build alternative communities of compassion and mutual support, whose members would resist nonviolently the unjust social structures of his day. Our national community, as has been presented by the previous speakers, is confronted with the serious issue of millions of unemployed workers about to lose benefits with the prospect of great suffering. And there are other related issues, as has been pointed out. The inequality of the bailout favoring the wealthy and the powerful, a growing wealth disparity that threatens our social fabric, unacceptable military expenditures, a serious need for more just tax structure, and trade agreements that leave large numbers of both sides jobless, exploited, or otherwise oppressed. There is indeed a moral urgency for change in all of this, especially in the situation of the unemployed. A massive public works project would repair the nation's infrastructure, thus benefiting all, would be an excellent first step. For people of faith to urge these actions and reforms is to continue the work of the prophets of God. For all of us, it is to have compassion for our fellow countrymen and women in their need and to struggle in solidarity with them for the full realization of their humanity and ours and for the common good of our nation.
That's right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Father Bob. Kruger. And now I would like to introduce Tobias Green, who is an organizer with the Laborers Union Local 483.
My name is Toby Green, and I'm here on behalf of the Laborers Union of North America, Local 483, who represents approximately 900 workers, most of them in the city of Portland. What I'm here to speak about today is what has happened before and what must happen again. President Obama, among others, has dismissed the idea of a massive public works program to address the approximately 8 million people who have been thrown into unemployment and the millions more thrown into underemployment by the Great Recession of 2008. He maintains it is the private sector which will power any such turnaround. If the private sector alone is supposed to solve this crisis, and we were to grade their solutions to the Great Recession, we would be forgiven for assigning the private sector an F-. We base this grading on the fact that many economists are saying that this crisis isn't just here for the short term, but can be expected to extend well into 2037 before we actually see a restoration of jobs to pre-recession levels. So where does working people turn when they look for relief from the Great Recession? We look to our history. Inside Portland city limits, there once was a Dignity Village called Ross Island City that sprang up out of desperation to the Great Depression. It was only with the aid of a public works program such as the Civilian Citizen Corps was relief provided by putting men back to work building bridges and roads, and in doing so, countless families were aided who otherwise would have starved to death on the streets of Portland. This did not happen because of some act of God or rather benevolence on the part of President Franklin Roosevelt. Rather, these workers organized themselves to demand these programs. The phrase of the day was to organize, organize, organize. It is the strength of working men and working women that our hope rests, not in any particular political leader. Do you hear us, Portland City Council? With a stroke of your pen, you could convert 1,800 part-time jobs that exist now, mostly as throwaway jobs, into permanent jobs. Do you hear us, Congressman Wu? Do you hear us, Governor Kitzhaber? Do you hear us, President Obama? Now is the time to expand public employment opportunities and stop attacking public service, and especially stop attacking those who are providing them.
That's right. Yeah.
We know that we are not alone in voicing the demand for a public works program. Working people across the country have lost their jobs and their homes through no fault of their own. Our hope is that during this time, the AFL-CIO and Change to Win will organize massive demonstrations in cities across the country to demand that government institute a job creation program that will put millions of people back to work. And should be paid for by taxes on Wall Street and the hyper-rich.
Right. Yes.
Both of them pay taxes at a far lower rate than ordinary working people, and we must never forget that it was Wall Street that caused this crisis.
Yes, they did. Right. Yeah.
We want to build the world of tomorrow. We want to build it today. We want it to be built green. We want to see the broken and downtrodden of every race, gender, or sexual orientation to be in the queue for these jobs. And we should not wait till 2037 for that to happen. There is always roadblocks on the pathway to fairness and equality. And there is no greater example of fairness and equality than a family wage job with benefits.
That's right.
I thank you for your time. We have a lot of work to do ahead of us. Thank you.
Yeah, spell your name, please.
Toby Green, Tobygreen.
Thank you very much to all the speakers. And I'd like to ask if the media, if the people from the press have any questions of the speakers. Please identify yourselves and ask a question.
There was quite a stimulus package put on by Obama and that, trying to get jobs. Do you feel it just didn't go far enough?
Of course it didn't go far enough. There's just still not enough jobs out there. And there were many economists who recommended to do more of a stimulus back then, and Congress and Obama did not do that. And that's why we're still struggling, and we need more of a stimulus. In the Great Depression back in the 1930s, they had much more of a stimulus. That's the whole point. And they're not doing that.
Any other questions? I think the message has been clear from all the speakers that we want relief for the 99ers. There should not be 99ers. There should be unemployment insurance. for people who have, for no fault of their own, don't have jobs because there aren't jobs being created, that should extend until the end of the jobs crisis. And secondly, we are saying there's an absolute imperative for a massive public works program, a federally funded program. We have done it before in this country. We can do it again. We're at a point where we're more affluent than the 30s. We can do it. So there is, as Tobias Green said, we have lots of work ahead of us. Thank you very much for everyone for being here. And I think that you'll be seeing us more and more as we bring our voices to the public. Thank you. Yes, I was just reminded what we're doing now. I'd like to tell everybody is Jobs with Justice and the Sunnyside Self-Help Employment Group are going to be going to all our congressional representatives, both senators and congresspeople, with the messages that you've heard today, voices of the unemployed, the real people behind the statistics, as well as the analysis that we've given about the lack of jobs and the need for jobs, and that we need dramatic change. So we'll be going to all of our congressional representatives. Today we'll be meeting with people in Congressman Wu's office, and we'll be going to everybody else as well, and we'll be letting you know about our progress. Thank you very much.